Hello! I'm trying to do something new here, and I don't know if it's going to work, but bear with me. There's a tweet that I'd like to look at. It's called, it's from the Red-Headed Libertarian, and we can see from her bio over here that she works with Tim Pool, so I'm not expecting great faith arguments to start with. There's a partisan start to the conversation, but why do we need a Department of Government Efficiency? And there's 27,000 likes here. In 2020, the U.S. government spent $4.5 million to spray alcoholic rats with bobcat urine. Now, what's going on? Why would they do that? It does seem silly. It seems like a lot of money. We could make the argument this isn't that much money. And in the scheme of things, it isn't. I want the government of the U.S. to be spending money on scientific research. And it doesn't spend very much of its money on scientific research. I mean, like, we could pull up a budget. What's the budget? That's the Hoboken Public Library. Why does Google suck? Government of the U.S., not the Hoboken.
I feel like it is getting harder to find information that I want quickly on Google. U.S. discretionary and non-discretionary spending 2023. Discretionary spending in. This doesn't have non-discretionary. This is non-defense. Like, yeah, I don't know. Or maybe these graphs just don't exist. No, they do. I've seen them before. I know they exist. Oh, this one is better. Okay. Oh, Wikipedia. Based. Wikipedia or Reddit? Google has become the largest indexer of Wikipedia and Reddit on the internet.
Public Library. What's this one? Is this a federal spending by function? We've got, this is 2015. What's happening? Let's just do 2020. So we have something slightly more useful. Oh, thanks for the 2015 one. That's freaking awesome. I love that. Why do we suck? Where do my taxes go? My property taxes? No! Show me the federal budget. Why does Google suck? Okay, there, I like this better. So one of these things is going to be, so we've got education, we've got veterans benefits, we've got, what was this? Interest on debt, veterans benefits, food and agriculture, housing and community, transportation. Somewhere in here, there's going to be energy and science. There it is. There it is. Look, I don't think that number is as big as it should be. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the $38 billion doesn't matter. I'm just saying if I'm the Department of Government...
Wait, sorry.
Transportation. Somewhere in here, there's going to be energy and science. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think that number is as big as...
Wait, hold on. Oh my God. Flashback moment. Ooh. Flashback moment. Flashback moment. Oh my God. Bro. Chill. Right? Sure, that's fine. But people like RFK, remember when I did this yesterday? Whenever people talk about wanting to like cut the budget or save money or do something, they're always hyper fixated on these things that are their pet project, but in the grand scheme of things, they're not making that big of a difference, right? This was an example of like, if you wanted to increase the health of the average American, your huge cuts are probably going to be things like pay attention to your macros, right? Don't eat so much fucking sugar and don't eat super ultra processed food. These are like your two biggest, these will save so much money, so much health, so much like medical bills, pain and suffering, time out of work, like way more, like 2 or 3 orders of magnitude more than pursuing every single policy that RFK wants to do. Banning the weird additives or the whatever substance bullshit or whatever. It would do so much more to focus on those things. But people hyperfixate on these and they make it sound like they're the majority of the problem. And that same phenomenon is happening, yeah, right here. We're going to save money, guys, okay? Here's the thing that we spent $60,000 on. It's like, bro, really? Seriously?
Suck! Okay, there, I like this better. So one of these things is going to be, so we've got education, we've got veterans benefits, we've got, what was this? Interest on debt, veterans benefits, food and agriculture, housing and community, transportation. Somewhere in here, there's going to be energy and science. There it is. There it is. Look, I don't think that number is as big as it should be. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying the $38 billion doesn't matter. I'm just saying if I'm the Department of Government Efficiency, I have a lot of places to look before I get to the $4.5 million spent on spraying alcoholic rats with bobcat urine. But that does not mean that this was a good use of money. And I don't know why you would spray an alcoholic rat with bobcat urine, but I bet somebody does, and I bet it's not as weird as it sounds. Let's take ourselves into the world and say, why would you spray any rat with bobcat urine? And it's because bobcats are rat predators and you probably want to induce a stress response. So there's probably a bunch of ways to stress out a rat, and there's probably a bunch of sort of standard ways where you know how much a particular thing is going to stress out a rat. I know that one way is that you like electrify the cage and shock their little paws to cause them a little bit of pain. That it's not necessarily that it's inhumane, but that could be a lot sort of harder to pull off than just getting bobcat urine from a place that has bobcats and then spray it. Like, how much does bobcat urine cost? Predator urine. Oh, I love that. I love what? Wait a second, talking with the P-man. So yeah, you could pick up a 64-ounce growler. I don't know. I would use that word of bob.
Isn't just sugar fine? It's when you mix sugars and fats that sugar gets stored instead of used. Anytime you eat more than you burn in energy, it will be stored. It doesn't matter if you eat carbohydrates. It doesn't matter if you eat fats. It doesn't matter if you eat proteins. All of it is the same. The only reason why simple sugars or ultra processed foods tend to be bad is because when you eat them, they tend to be, your body has like a whole process by digesting shit, right? And it's a lot of work that your body can go through. It's good at it, but it's a lot of work to digest, like when you eat a fucking root. If you think right at the very beginning, the mastication process, right? You're chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing, and your saliva is already, like, there are enzymes in there that are beginning to digest parts of it, and it goes in your body and has to work and work and work, and you extract good calories out of it, but it's a whole lot of work, and it leaves you feeling like pretty full because it's a whole ass process. For like a French fry or for food that has been ultra processed, they've stripped away a lot of the fibers or a lot of the things that might take more time for your body to process. So you eat it and it's instantaneously absorbed right into your fucking bloodstream. But because you digest it so fast, the satiation, and there might be other reasons as well related to hormone signaling or what is it, leptin or whatever other bullshit, because your body digests a lot of this ultra processed food so fast and so efficiently, it leaves you feeling hungry like immediately after. You'll feel hungry very quickly. If you eat like a chicken breast, right? That's about the same amount of calories as a croissant, but croissants, it's like a lot of butter, it's a lot of like flour, like processed stuff. You eat it, you digest it very quickly. You're hungry again after eating a croissant in an hour or 30 minutes. After a chicken breast, it might be a while until you're hungry again, right? So sugar is not bad, protein is not good. No food is necessarily bad or good. It's just different foods do different things, basically. Yeah.
Bobcat urine for $125. That's easy. You could do it in a number of different labs. So if you want to repeat the thing, you just go to the P-man and you say, hey, pick me up a little bit more bobcat urine. You spray it with this sprayer. It's the same thing. This is, I almost guarantee you, why they spray the alcoholic rats with bobcat urine. It wasn't to see like what happens when you spray an alcoholic rat with bobcat urine. It was to intentionally induce a stress response to see what would happen. And I don't know if these rats are alcoholic because this is just some tweet from the internet. I don't know if they're alcoholic rats or if they are rats who are drunk. If they got rats drunk and then stressed them out, and then they stressed out non-drunk rats to see like the difference between those two things, which would be interesting. If the rats are actually alcoholic and they've created a dependency on alcohol in the rats, and then they are seeing if they spray it, if the rats then do something that like in response to alcohol. Like if you stress out an alcohol, like a rat that's previously been conditioned to be dependent on alcohol, if you stress that rat out, will it drink more or less? I can see it. Like, I feel like I've a little bit, like, this is an interesting exercise to be like, why would someone spray an alcoholic rat with bobcat urine? But we probably don't need to figure this out. I can just search bobcat urine rat spray. No, that's just giving me predator pee again. Bobcat urine rat alcoholic rat. There's a little Google thing here. It says exposure to bobcat urine can increase alcohol self-administration. So if rats are stressed out, they will drink more. And that may also increase sensitivity to alcohol's interoceptive effects. Is that just like drunkenness? Interoception is the sense that provides information about the body's internal state and can okay. We've got an actual study here. This is from 2020, so that is the year. Alcohol use disorder is highly comorbid with traumatic stress disorders in humans, and dually diagnosed individuals cite negative affective symptoms as a primary reason for drinking alcohol. So this is, you guys, is this science that we're doing to help veterans with substance use disorders? Is that what we're mad about? I know people hate this, but if you go to ChatGPT and you ask it to explain an abstract to you of a topic you don't understand, well, it will give you useful stuff. The researchers hypothesized that a history of traumatic stress might increase the pleasurable properties of alcohol, decrease the unpleasant effects of alcohol. The study suggests that traumatic stress history makes alcohol seem less unpleasant, possibly increasing the risk of alcohol use disorder by altering brain signaling pathways in areas related to stress and reward. So, like, there's, I mean, so two things. One, these are mice, they're not people. But two, we're not just looking at what happened. They're looking at the areas of the brain and the signaling pathways involved in like a mouse with a post-traumatic stress response and its connection to alcohol use disorder. I know that's like a very first step kind of thing, but if it's the kind of thing that I'm like at the NIH or even at the like VA, the Veterans Affairs stuff, I might be like, yeah, I mean, we have a problem. We should do some like base level research. And maybe $4.5 million is more than you would expect to pay for this. I know that figuring out the expression of these...
Wait, I can never tell who's memeing or who's not memeing, so I feel like I have to say this. Studies on rats and inducing certain cognitive, emotional, psychological states in rats is like incredibly important to a fuck ton of different types of research that we do that ultimately ends up being research on people. I can't tell if people in YouTube chat or Kick chat are aware of that or not, but like this is like animal research is a foundational step for so much pharmaceutical research and other types of research for humans. I can't tell if
these chemicals, this biochemistry stuff is expensive. So like obviously spraying rats with urine isn't going to be expensive. You can mix some alcoholic rats, and rats are fairly cheap. Taking care of them is fairly cheap. It's more expensive than you might think. The researchers are...
AsmonGold had... Oh, wait, I thought you guys were trolling when you said they watched AsmonGold today. Wait, what did AsmonGold say? No way. Wait, link me. I don't believe you.
I promise you, fairly cheap. These people don't tend to be the highest paid people in the world, but the part where you're trying to like look at the biochemical markers in the amygdala, that's hard. And that's the most valuable part of the study. Like just knowing that...
It's not great to draw conclusions from, though. Why are you even typing in chat? You're lucky you have a green name, or I would have permaban you for such a stupid fucking comment.
A rat is affected by alcohol and stress isn't that useful. But if you start to understand the neurochemistry of it, that's a good set of first steps. But I guess what I really want to do is play connections. But first, I must remind you that you could do a lot of your holiday shopping at Good.Store, a place that donates all of its profit to charity, but also sources tons of delightful things, from teas to coffees to soaps to socks. And the socks, we've sold out of all of the 12 packs, but we still have smaller packs that we need to get rid of and clear out of the warehouse. And you can get them. There's links in the description. Any order over $59 within the US right now gets free shipping. If you have an order over $50, you can get 10% off with the coupon code SAVE10. Over $100, you can get 20% off with the coupon code SAVE20. So you get $100 of stuff for $80 and get free shipping, because that's more than $59. And you need to do holiday shopping, so you might as well do it right now. That's Good.Store. Just click the link in the description, and then I'm going to play connections while you shop, and that's going to be nice. All right, let's go. We got mustard.
Whoa!
Healthy, put him in a bath of water.
This rat is perfectly healthy. Put him in a vat of water and he finds his way to safety every time.
5.2.
Good rat.
Now, look at this guy.
Oh, why? I think I'm familiar with this research. Is this a really popular set of rat studies where I think you're trying to induce like hopelessness in them? So you give them a drug, or you stress them out, or you have them like try to swim with like in order to survive for a minute or two, and they don't know when it's going to end and they might die or something like this. Yeah, I don't know why. I have a friend and she works in a lot of what is her job? She verifies. I think she writes formulas to verify scientific data that's coming out of labs where people work on like phase 1 trialing on drugs like this. And basically what she does is like when data is coming out of the lab, she's looking at it to make sure that like, is everything hooked up correctly? Does this data look like it's valid? Is everything within acceptable ranges, so that you know that, because you have to test, you've got to baseline all of your shit in order to know like if this is good or not, right? So say you're you're studying rats or something, and you've got like 5 heartbeats coming in or pulses, and one is like wildly high, and it's like, okay, we have to disregard this. This isn't good, or something is going wrong, or I'm losing data here and it's not right. Stuff like that, yeah. That's the only reason why I know anything about this bullshit.
What he's been eating is the equivalent of a North American diet, complete with all the fats and sugars we regularly consume. He doesn't know where to go. His brain has been damaged.
These rats were totally normal, and then they turned into demented animals. They don't remember their learning after even a day. And as the challenge gets harder and harder, they fail more and more, just like a human with Alzheimer's disease.
36.2.
In this lab, the belief now is that Alzheimer's is really diabetes of the brain, linked to insulin levels, which can be affected by too much sugar.
This is an interesting experiment, but I wouldn't believe any of this. This doesn't really make sense to me, because a rat's biology and its internal like digestion system is totally different than a human's.
Do you not think the researchers that are working with the rats know that the rats are not humans? What is the purpose of a statement like that? Like, also, we are far more similar to mammals and other creatures than people realize. There also, all general research, and it might even be the case that all phase 1 trials for medication, I don't know if that's true, like, we'll start with in animal research. Like, I don't want to be... I'm trying not to be mean. I'm trying not to be mean. This is one of the most scientifically illiterate or research illiterate statements I've ever heard in my life. Okay, to say, first of all, actually, you know what? I'll be even more nitpicky. No, actually, it's not even nitpicky. To say that they're totally, completely different, that's not even really true. That's not even really true. They're not. They share a remarkable amount of similarity with humans.
Can be affected by too much sugar.
This is an interesting experiment, but I wouldn't believe any of this. This doesn't really make sense to me. Because a rat's biology and its internal, like, digestion system is totally different than a human's.
Like, what do you mean you say internal? What do you think we have a, like, you know that we all eat kind of like roughly the same types of foods and everything, right? Like, are rats walking around like consuming lava and diamond and silicon or rocks or like what, like when you say totally different, what do you mean by totally different? And before they do eat rocks and lava.
So in the same way that there's different pH levels for the skin and, like, you know, like, for example, like shampoo for humans aren't the same as shampoo for animals.
You do know that they literally start off testing a lot of beauty products on animals, right? Like, they literally start off testing these things, like hair loss stuff or shampoo or cosmetics, literally start off testing them on animals, right? Like, do we need different types of, like, vitamins or different types of, yeah, at the end of the day, the formulas are definitely going to be tweaked for humans, but this is where the research starts, right? Why am I?
It's similar. It's not that much.
At least I think Chad is pushing back on this. Please don't do that thing where you don't have all the information and go on a 10-minute tirade about why you're correct and why this isn't true. That's why they use rats. Nah, they use mice and rats for this stuff because it's similar. Why do you think they research on rats? Rats are actually very similar to humans. Rats are similar. Okay, at least the Chad is like a little bit more. Okay.
They calculate for that? I don't know. I mean, like, look, it's going to take a lot to convince me that a rat eating the same thing as me, their side effects are going to be the same as my side effects. I hear that, and I'm like, well, yeah, of course, it's a rat. It's totally different than a person. So, yeah, it's way smaller. Well, I mean, obviously, they're going to change the portion size. So, yeah. Oh, fuck. Hello? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Asana's watching on stream.
Let me go ahead and put. Can you repeat that just so they can hear it?
What?
Okay. When I worked
Am I in the forest?
In a psych lab, we used to use these rats, and they're called hooded rats. We used to fly them in from New York, you know, and down to Florida to run these experiments. And the closest thing, in many cases, to a human are hogs, pigs.
Yeah.
And they use pigs for a lot of human anatomy stuff. And I'd be curious to see this study with pigs. But the rats' digestive system and the way that they process sugar and nutrients and so forth is similar enough to make an inference, especially when the animal was that lost, swimming all around.
He's stupid.
He wanted to go back up where he was coming from. And so, I mean, you can see that, right? What he was doing, he just had to cross the copper. So, but not the first one. So I would need to know more, a lot more. I mean, you need to know a lot more about the background of the rats, what else they were fed, and so forth. But it's not, you can't just write it off because rats are not like humans.
I ain't going to write it off. I just said I wasn't going to write it on. I said it's hard for me to believe that, like, because I'm not a rat.
Right, well, I don't know. A lot of people would disagree, but I agree with you. But the function is still the same, and I know you would disagree because this guy is eating a lot of the same diet you do. But
I should do like a content day where it's just like a whole. It's like we're gonna do an AsmonGold React content day. Like, this is such a ridiculous test. Like, I don't think this can tell us anything valuable about how car accidents would impact humans. Like, this crash test dummy isn't even a human at all. If anything, it's just a doll. Like, I don't even know why they would waste our taxpayer money or time doing stuff like this. Just totally a waste of time and resources. Like, how stupid is this? Okay, what's the next thing? What else can we react to? Like,
but that's just to set the record straight. It's the rats can be used as they call them infrahuman.
All right. Okay, I gotta get to it. There's a lot for me to go over.
Okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to clarify on
Thanks.
the rats.
Yeah. Thanks. All right.
These rats are specially bred for this.
Okay. All right. Yo. Bye.
Yo, bye-bye.
if that's his dad, I don't even like what his dad is saying. First, that he agrees with them mostly because he doesn't agree with them, or he shouldn't be. And two, that like the rats are special bred for this. They do use special breeds of animals for testing, but that's not really even hitting at the heart of why what AsmonGold is saying is just not correct, right? Like, you're always starting in smaller test environments before you can't just begin testing on humans, right? You understand that you can't just start a test on fucking humans. You can't do that. Like,
yeah, my dad did a lot of this stuff. Like, he worked in a college and everything. He's a college professor, and like, so he did a lot of experiments and shit like this with that stuff. So yeah, there we go. Alzheimer's is pretty commonly known as type 3 diabetes. Yeah, I think it's very interesting for sure.
No! This one's going to trigger me. I actually can't watch it. I'm sorry. Okay. Just don't care. Okay. All right. Explain the reaction. There's a really common set of like weird dietary nutrition. There's like a bunch of weird people that push this idea of some people. It used to have a little bit of credence, but the idea is that Alzheimer's, that disease, is actually just a type 3 diabetic disease. And usually the people that say it's type 3 diabetes, they also push the idea, generally is running in concordance with each other or in tandem with each other, push this idea that it can be totally cured by just like changing your diet, and all the medication and research around it is like, right, it's very, I don't need to run into all that. Okay. Okay, what's up?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
So sorry, I'm a little nervous, but have you been getting any of my emails, my schizo emails?
Possibly. I don't know. What do you email me about?
I wrote that super long thing, the thing that's like 20 pages.
Then probably not. I don't usually have time to. I mean, I tell you somebody about, but if I'm getting like huge emails, I usually just delete them because I don't have time. Because I get some people that will email like huge things that I just don't have the time to read through all of it.
Yeah. Okay. You said the other day. What?
You can always keep subredditing them, but yeah, go ahead.
You said the other day, I think with the Pisco anything else, and the I think the other day when you were streaming with Lonerbox, you said that Trump didn't try and prosecute Hillary Clinton.
He didn't It seems like he didn't aggressively chase after it. Yeah, after he was in the
He did.
How so?
He got barred to appoint the special counsel, Durham. You know about this?
Durham went after. Why do I know Durham? What do I associate him with him more?
I'm not sure.
I know the name Durham. Oh wait, Durham did the FBI stuff, right?
You're gonna have to be more specific.
The Durham report was Durham auditing the FBI's practice during the investigation into Donald Trump's campaign to see if there was anything that was going on that was improper, and to search for ways to improve basically the FBI's internal. Yeah.
Yeah, and he eventually got Hillary Clinton to sit for testimony, but it's not just Clinton. there's a pattern, like in that thing I sent you. There, I lay out a pattern, and it's mostly taken from this guy named Michael Schmidt at the New York Times, and he reports the ways in which Trump publicly called for someone to be prosecuted in a specific way, and then it's not clear whether or not Trump actually orders someone specific to enact these prosecutions, but they do happen, and the specific details around them are, I would say, weird enough that there's probably something there. And I lay out a few of those, like in the article. I think Schmidt points out, like, I think 10. I mean, he has a series of articles on it, but I mean, he points out 10. I think I go over 4 or 5. There's like James Comey and Andrew McCabe. James Comey was the FBI director, and then the deputy FBI director under him was McCabe, and he got these highly irregular IRS audits to be against both of them. And Trump had publicly tweeted before saying, like, the IRS needs to investigate Comey. They need to look into this stuff. And when the audits didn't turn up anything, and in Comey's case in particular, after months or maybe even a year of investigating, they find that Comey actually overpaid on his taxes and he gets a refund. And the number crunchers at the New York Times determined that there was a 1 in 82 million chance of both of these people being selected for the same audit.
Okay.
But it's not, I'm saying that, and then this goes along with what you were saying. I think on the one with Pisco, you said you weren't sure whether Trump was going to prosecute, like, Joe Biden or Hunter Biden or any of these other people. Is that right?
Yeah.
I would probably agree with Hunter and Joe specifically, but he has plans to prosecute his enemies.
Yeah, he might. I mean, but like even the example you bring up for the Hillary stuff, I don't think that was him necessarily going after Hillary. That was him trying to get heat off him over the Russia investigation stuff, and it would all spring out of that, right? My claim about Trump isn't that Trump wouldn't go after his enemies. Like, I think he would. My claim about Trump is that he only sees what's right in front of him. He's like a dog. So that if, like, people stop fucking with him, he'll probably just fucking forget about you, and he'll just fixate on whatever's in his immediate vicinity, because he has very short-term memory on that stuff.
In a sense, you're right that, like, he's trying to get out, the people who are currently working against him, right? But, like, I don't know how relevant that particularly is. Like,
well, that was that was my claim. That's all I was saying.
Okay.
I think Trump would go after other people for sure. Like, Trump 1 trillion% obstructed the fuck out of the investigation into himself. But nobody talks about that or cares about it. Yeah. I
didn't even bring that up just because I could have made this thing. I could have made this thing like 6 times longer, and but the other big one in here is the I would say, I mean, I have 3 main sections on Trump's plan, or I guess 4 sections on what Trump's plans are. Do you have this thing in front of you? Or
yeah.
Okay. The using troops on U.S. soil. Have you heard anything about this?
I think I've heard him mention it, but I mean, I don't know how likely that is to happen. But
I don't know how likely any of this stuff is to happen. But there are people in his administration and people working with what was his campaign, and with other think tanks like the Heritage Foundation, and there's another one called the Center for Renewing America. The Center for Renewing America was working with the Trump campaign. I think this was the Washington Post that reports this. Was working with the Trump campaign to draft executive orders for invoking the Insurrection Act on Trump's first day in office, which is it's basically, it allows you to use troops on domestically, like the National Guard and troops, but it's only been invoked, I think, 30 times in some 200-year history. And normally what happens is the mayor and the governor will ask you to come in. So, like, the last time it was invoked was during the LA riots for Rodney King. And George H.W. Bush was asked by the mayor and the governor to come in. But Trump is saying, and I go through it, there's several statements where he says, one of the other things I'll do, because, you're not supposed to be involved in that, you have to be asked by the governor or the mayor to come in. The next time, I'm not waiting. One of the things I did was let them run it, and we're going to show how bad a job they do. Well, we did that. We don't have to wait any longer. We have to get the crime out of our cities. And what I was going to say a minute ago was that the Center for Renewing America, do you know who's working on the plans to invoke the Insurrection Act there?
Nope.
Jeffrey Clark.
Nice.
Do you care about any of this, or am I?
Well, I it's just like, I mean, like, there's like a million like potentially troubling things, but it's just not very interesting to me to go over like every potentially terrible, crazy thing that could happen. Like, I'll cover cabinet picks as they come out, but I'm sure, like you said yourself, there's like hundreds of pages you can write on things that could like. There's other things I would.
Well, it's not that this could potentially happen. It's that he's planning to do it. Whether or not he'll actually do it is a different thing. But I think it's crazy that like we're not discussing that he's drafting plans to use the military against American citizens, and everyone's just kind of like, people who I brought it up to have been like, well, is he really going to do this? Is this like the plan in and of itself? I feel like is enough to be like seriously alarming.
Sure, but I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, and Republicans will support him, and half the country supports the Republicans. So I mean, like, it's pretty fucked.
I don't know if I agree with there's nothing you can do about it. I think that you in specific can bring attention to it. I mean, that was the whole point. That was the whole reason I wrote this. I mean, I have a Twitter account. I think I have 20 followers and 15 of them are fucking bots. I mean, like, I don't have a way to tell people about this.
Okay. Listen, I'll add it to my agenda of things to look at. If we run out of other things to look at, I'll start digging through this next, okay?
Okay. Did you, I'm just going to think if I had another question. Did you ever look into Schedule F? Or do you understand that?
I think I do. I think it basically just gives the president himself the ability to reach into executive administration or executive offices and departments to say whether or not you can hire or fire somebody based on their like avowed loyalty to the president himself, right? Like as a hiring criteria.
I would say that's how it functions.
Mm-hmm.
But what it actually does is it makes appointments that were originally no longer or were not political. So like, the attorney general is someone that the president, as far as I understand it, can hire and fire at will, basically, right? Like he can just, appoint or dismiss. But like civil servants, like let's say a lawyer at the Department of Justice, like just some random lawyer, like they're a civil servant, they have protections. You can't as easily fire them. And what this would do is it would just make all of these appointments political. And so you can't, I don't know if they would specifically say like, loyalty to Trump, but that's essentially what it is. And I don't know if you think this is a meme or not, or how seriously you take it, but like, if you look at, I link it in there, the, Project 2025, they have a personnel page, and you can like send in your resume and you answer a bunch of questions basically about, Trump's policies and what you think of Trump and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is the pool of people that they'll use to replace the civil servants that they want to fire.
Sure. Yeah. Which is bad. Yeah.
Which is, really bad. Stephen Miller, who just, I say it in the immigration section, Stephen Miller, who just became Trump's deputy chief of staff, or for something or other, he specifically said that Trump will invoke the Insurrection Act on the border to deputize National Guard from red states in order to start catching migrants and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, not good. Not good. Not a good thing.
Okay.
I mean, he won the presidency. This is like what? This is the agenda for America? Like, this is what? I mean, yeah, it's not good. I agree. It's all fucked, yeah.
The reason I wrote this is because, I say it at the beginning. I feel like you would say things, and I think you're right in a sense. Like, you say, like, Trump doesn't have a policy agenda, but he does. Like, this is the agenda. Right? I mean, it's not like he has a plan. Like, I mean, I think you played that childcare clip, several times. I mean, like, he doesn't have an agenda to like help, lower your grocery costs or something like that. But he does have an agenda to do this, to prosecute his enemies, to use the military on American citizens. I mean, I feel like we should at least be talking about this, but I don't know.
I mean, nobody gives a fuck about the things he's already done. So why would they give a fuck about the things that he says he's going to do, right? Like the old DOJ shit with Barr and Clark, that was all unbelievably insane. Nobody cares about that, and that really happened. And we have like solid 100% proof that all that really happened, and no one cares. So why would anybody care about like a thing that he could like, yeah.
Well, his supporters don't care because they're in a cult. But like I think one of the
nobody cares. The Democrats don't care either. People care about like really like fundamental, basic, like economic things. Like that's what people care the most about. They don't give a fuck about the lying. Yeah.
well, that's what they vote on. I mean, I think one of the coolest things you ever did was when you brought the 6 commentary people into do basically the review of the January 6th thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were saying it was boring, but like I thought that was the most probably unique use of a platform of your type that I feel like I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree.
It like.
But it's a lot of time. I can't do like the 30-hour or I'm just like the 2-month deep dives into every single fucking like I just can't. I don't have the time. I can't do it.
Sure.
I'm only one person. Like there has to be other people in media besides me. There must be at least one other person online who can be entertaining and actually read more than 1 page worth of shit. I can't go through it in detail. Like I wanted to go through the Mueller report. I don't think I'm going to be able to. I don't even know if it matters now because nobody gives a fuck. Like there's a ton of things that like I want to go over, but then I also have to like cover like relevant streamers. I've also got podcasts to keep up with. I've also got like other like I still need to watch this JD Vance video. I've got like current events. Like there's like a million things. Yeah, it'd be nice if I could like sit down and like, oh, let's go through and spend like 45 days on like things that Trump has said and done that he wants to do in the future that he may or may not do. Like it's just, yeah. I'm not even saying that like what you're talking about here is irrelevant or bad or that it's not like worth people talking about. I agree that it could be, but just right now of all the things that I'm talking about, I don't know if this needs to be like the number one thing that I go over. And it would be nice if there are other people besides me that are willing to like dig through any of this. But yeah.
Yeah. I tried to get some other people to look at this and it didn't go very well. Do you have to go or something, or can I ask you a couple more questions? Or
no, go for it. Wait, I need to get a soylent so I can store it up. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Whoops. Okay, go.
Yeah. You've memed about it before. Before the election, you memed like, I don't know. I think you were kind of half memeing. Like you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to leave the country. What would, like, seriously, legitimately, like, what would make you, maybe start?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I feel like there's like a thing. There's probably something that would do it. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know what it would be. I think usually the thing that will pull me back from the brink on stuff is sometimes you can fixate on the bad stuff, and then I need to think of the good stuff, and sometimes I just have to shift my view. So like one of the worst things is the fact that half the people in this country thought it was okay to validate Trump's prior behavior is almost irredeemable to me. That it's just an absolutely insane world where people don't care about that type of like treasonous behavior, I guess. But then I have to remember, well, half the people in this country didn't support it. So like, I don't know. Like, it's not like it's a totally lost cause, but I mean, like if Trump were to find a way to have like a third term, I mean, I'm sure there's some line where you draw it, but I don't know what that line would be, but I'm sure it's somewhere out there.
I was going to ask another question, but actually I was thinking about that actually, the possibility of him trying to run for a third term. I don't want to say that that's like a red herring or irrelevant, because it definitely is relevant whether he tries to run for a third term.
Mm-hmm.
But like in 2028, like assuming Trump is at all popular or alive or can string together a sentence to the degree that he can right now, the nominee for the Republican Party will be his pick.
Probably,
right?
yeah. I would imagine there's somebody with his
like,
blessing, unless he picks somebody really bad, yeah.
Yeah, and so like if that person loses the election, I mean, I think he's more likely to accept that result than him losing. But do we really think he would accept the results of that election?
I have no idea. He'll be old.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe he's happy that he got his 2 terms. I truly have no idea.
I don't know. Yeah. I think that I was maybe a month or so ago convinced that he would probably try to run for a third term. But I became less convinced because I feel like, this is just obviously armchair psychology bullshit, but like I feel like his bigger thing is the sense of losing.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he doesn't run, he can't lose, and so there's nothing. But I don't know. I was going to ask. You've been talking about like plans, for how you want to behave and how you want to act. I was going to write a whole section at the end of this called like If He Wins and What to Do About It, and like stuff that I had thought about, but I just didn't have the time or the space. What is your plan kind of going forward? Like I saw you writing that big note about.
Oh yeah, I want to work with a big campaign this 2026. That's my goal right now. That's what I'd like to do.
Yeah. But one of the things that I wanted to try and convince you of if I talk to you, which I guess I am, was that I think that like your focus on elections is really cool, and like you've done a lot. Like I've never been to any of your canvassing stuff, but like it seems like it's a huge thing and it's a big operation, everything like that. Like I feel like you're underestimating your ability to influence politics outside of an election.
No, I'm not. I'm having a better grasp of that. So I'm taking it a bit more seriously and trying to talk to more people. Yeah.
Like what do you think you're trying to do specifically differently?
Like I think I do have a larger influence, especially after the exploding firefighter thing. I think I'm having a larger influence on a lot of the conversations, at least online or in that world. And I'm being a little bit more strident, I guess, about like fostering communications with other people that I probably would have not strident. That's not a good word. Ardent, with like trying to talk to people that maybe before I would have distanced myself a bit more from, because I'm like, I'm pretty edgy. I don't know like if Brian Tyler Cohen should ever be on my stream. I don't know if that's worth the exposure to him. So
yeah, well, Trump is nominating Matt Gaetz, so I think it's probably okay.
Yeah,
but I mean even more broadly than that. Like I was thinking about this, not to whatever. But I mean, I was thinking about this before this even happened, but I truthfully don't even know that much about fucking Israel, Palestine. I've tried to watch some of your stuff and it's like in 1912, this happened and I can't do it. But like what Dan has been doing, like with like all the Twitch stuff and like, he actually got the was it a congressman, right? To address the Hassan stuff. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah.
Like I may be wrong about the details here, but like, I remember when they were first trying to pass the Infrastructure Act. I think it was much bigger than it ended up being. Like, it wasn't like $1.5 trillion.
Yeah, I got negotiated
like
down.
$3 trillion. Yeah, and I think one of the big leaders behind negotiating it down was Manchin, wasn't it?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I guess like. And like I can understand why this specific idea might seem a little fantastical to you, but like, I mean, Musk is saying like he's going to primary, Republicans that don't support Trump's agenda. Like, imagine, and I'm not saying you should do this specifically, but like, let's imagine that like when those negotiations were happening, you saw that Manchin was torpedoing the bill. I'm not even sure if he was the one who was doing it, but let's just say that he was. Like, let's say you always say, people would know if my audience was really going after you because, of what it would look like. I mean, imagine if you said, like, we're going to primary Joe Manchin and you tell your audience to send him emails, you get, a bunch of stuff. Like, it may not ultimately work. He may not ultimately care. He may have other interests or, stuff like that. But, like, I think, working in the public kind of way that you do, that no one is going to get 1,000 emails and not blink. You know what I mean?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. I mean, Manchin is a special interest because if we were to try to primary something like that, it would have to be a Republican doing it. Like another Democrat is never holding that seat. But I mean, I understand what you're saying in principle. Yeah.
Well, he was a Democrat, right?
Yeah, or Democrat. Yeah. But it was in a very red state. That was why he had so much leverage. It's because they knew that another Democrat's never winning in that besides him.
But I just mean that, like, even if you had no intentions to do that, and even if you maybe said on stream, like, we're not really going to do this. Like, I don't know if I'll really care that much. Like, I feel like the act of even just, the act of just 1,000 people emailing him. I mean, you even said, like, if you pick up the phone and call your congressman or your senator, like, you might get I imagine it's more the case for a congressman, but like, you might get a secretary, but you might just honestly just get the person. And like, if you get 15 phone calls and 1,000 emails, there's no way you can just like, you're not going to just like shove that aside. Like that'll impact your decision making.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, although I'm sure for that particular guy, there was probably a lot of national pressure. And maybe we could have made a splash there, but like I remember that in the Georgia runoff, with the runoff, those Georgia elections for Senate, that there was like over $1 billion I think spent in that state just for those two Senate seats. So, but I understand what you're saying in principle. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's stuff that I'm probably going to be looking to be more effective in wielding my community. Yeah, this election season.
Okay. And again, if you need to do something or whatever, let me know. But for the misinformation and disinformation stuff, what is your current kind of thinking about it? I know you've memed about like, having some kind of government thing or something.
It's a thing that I'm very irritated about, but I think that the thing to change that stuff or fight that stuff, it just has to be a change in the media environment. That's the thing I'm more focused on.
Do you ever think about, like, we've seen examples recently, and you've said like, oh, if only we could see the same thing happen on the other side, but it did happen and no one gives a shit. And somehow that's even more frustrating to like realize that they aren't, like, in some sense, like, does it really matter? Like, it's because they already believe it, right? Like it doesn't matter how much evidence there is of Hillary Clinton actually murdering people. Like, the people think it regardless. Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I making sense here?
Sure. Yeah. Or yeah. What's the point?
Like, the point is that, like, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not going to say that disinformation specifically isn't a problem, but like, especially for people who aren't necessarily bought in very hard, but like for the type of people you interact with online, like, I don't think disinformation is the big problem. I think it's the underlying beliefs. I mean, it all feeds into it, but like, it doesn't really matter how much of it there is. I feel like it's more the consistency of it. Am I making sense here?
I guess maybe, yeah, that they're predisposed to believe in it. Sure.
On the other end of using your platform, and this is definitely a wackier idea than what I said a minute ago about emailing Joe Manchin, but like, do you ever think about, like, I guess you maybe even call it brigading? Like, have you ever thought about the idea? And obviously, like, I'm not encouraging someone to break the rules or something, but like, have you ever thought about the idea of like using your platform to like spread, like, do an information campaign? Does that make sense?
I mean, you're like, just like fire hosing stuff out into the ether, and it's like, there's no guarantee that if a bunch of people say a bunch of shit, the best stuff will win out. Like, it has to be more.
Well, like, I mean, if you go on YouTube and you watch any video of Hillary Clinton on CNN or something like that, and you open the comments, it's all going to be like, why did you murder Seth Rich? What were you doing in Comet Pizza? But if you open a Tucker Carlson video, like, the comments aren't going to be like that. Like, they're all going to be like, Tucker, oh my God, thank you for finally telling the truth about, turning the frogs gay. I mean, it's like, why is there not like a large? Why don't we have why isn't there a Ukrainian disinformation campaign?
It's coming. I'm working on it. That's kind of what I have like a whole Discord for like the Clippers and stuff. I just need a night that I have where I'm not doing anything or working on anything where I could just like sit down and write all this out. But I'm working on that. It's in the pipeline.
Can you vocalize any of that, or is it all?
No, it's just secret? Like, it's just refocusing my like community efforts into more like digestible pipelines of information that are all flowing through to my different social media platforms that are all being coordinated well by individuals that have access to all of the information that is in this different Discord. Like, it's just like it's refining that process basically, because I didn't have a good shorts manufacturing factory until this year when we got the Twitter community. So
okay, who was that? Who's that? Was she Israeli or was she just Jewish? That woman who was like mommy doming you a little bit.
Oh, I have no idea. I know you're talking about. I don't know what she was from.
Yeah. I originally planned to include it in this thing. I think you had said something like JD Vance is a typical conservative.
I might have thought that. I don't know. I've heard him talk in the past or whatever, but
okay. He's definitely maybe it sounds like you've changed.
I have I've got a whole video on him. I'll watch that soon, so we don't have to talk about him. But that's what I've queued up to watch here. So
Oh, okay. I don't think there's anything else. Have you seen this video? The Justice for All January 6th thing?
Nope.
The video the song that Trump helped produce, like he paid for and he recorded his part specifically for it.
No. Justice for All, January 6th.
It's a music video Trump made with the prison choir, like a January 6th prison choir. It's here. I can link it in chat.
Justice for All featuring Donald J. Trump. Yeah, I got it.
Yep, that's yeah. That video is insane. This video premiered on, I think, Steve Bannon's Rumble channel or something.
Mm-hmm.
But the song is like on iTunes and everything. Like this is an insane video. I don't know how you interpret this anyway. That's not crazy.
All right. Yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah. Can I? Yeah. I guess I'll just say this plea to you. I know you have a million things and a million things to watch. Obviously, I would check this video out, but like, I would at least take a look at what I wrote about using the troops on U.S. soil and weaponizing the Justice Department, because I feel like those are kind of the scariest.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are like 5 pages combined.
Okay. I'll put it all at it. I'll bump it up on my list. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna watch this music video. Okay.
Can I maybe have Perms to come in here again, or is that a bridge too far?
I'll see you in chat. Okay. Be careful.
Okay. All right. See ya.
Nice try, guy. Nice try, guy. Good one.